ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
Hi, I'm Patricia Carvelis, the host of Politics Now. And throughout the week on the podcast, I'm joined by the brightest political minds at the ABC to wade through the political spin and bring you the analysis you need to know.
No, I think they are hedging. I just don't think you can draw a conclusion from their hedging. And I think everyone's looking for a conclusion in the hedging.
We go beyond the headlines, digging into the key political stories of the day and making sure we have a little bit of fun along the way.
We're always talking about polls.
Poll. It's called Politics Now, and you can find it on ABC Listen.
In the end, even an extraordinary intervention by the US president couldn't save them. The USA is out of the FIFA World Cup after being thrashed by Belgium. Has Donald Trump's meddling, which saw a red card removed for a star American player, trashed the competition? Today's sports integrity expert, Catherine Ordway, on what it says about the sport and what needs to change. I'm Sam Hawley on Gadigal land in Sydney. This is ABC News Daily.
America's hopes of beating Belgium in the round of 16 are looking brighter after a personal intervention from Donald Trump. In an unprecedented move, FIFA has cleared US leading goalscorer Folarin Balogun to play, despite receiving a red card.
Yes, I asked for a review by FIFA. I spoke to a man who's highly respected, and by the way, whose level of respect has gone up tenfold.
In a statement, FIFA says an independent body overturned Balogun's suspension, citing Article 27 of the Disciplinary Code, paving the way for Balogun to play against Belgium.
Catherine, there's a stench hanging over the World Cup. The competition has been tainted, it's been trashed. These are just some of the things that have been said and written since Donald Trump's quite extraordinary intervention. What did you make of it?
Well, there was never going to be any doubt that politics and this FIFA Men's World Cup were going to intertwine. From the moment that the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, handed over the FIFA Peace Prize to the President of the United States, we knew that there was going to be political involvement all the way through.
The referee's decision to red card. I didn't know what the hell a red card was. When I found out, I said, you got to be kidding. This guy just hands up, okay, your best player's not going to play next week or in the next game. I said, wow, that's a lot of power. That's terrible.
Well, Trump's intervention, of course, it didn't really pay off because the USA suffered a crushing defeat against Belgium, even though Balogun was on the pitch.
The American dream fizzles out. Today they were outfought, outplayed, and they are out. United States of America 1, Belgium 4.
And we're listening there to SBS coverage. But tell me, how did he play? Because, you know, there was a lot riding on him, a bit of pressure for sure.
Oh, there must have been enormous pressure. There's no way that he asked for any of this to occur. And I just wonder how much of a weight was on his shoulders in any event. His situation for even being in the US team is fascinating of itself. He has citizenship as a US citizen because of a birthright requirement under the Constitution, which President Trump tried to rip away. And only 2 days before he scored his goal against Bosnia, the Supreme Court had overwritten the executive order from President Trump that tried to take away this constitutional right for people born in the US. And so for that reason alone, he was allowed to play for the US. So the whole circumstances about him playing are just extraordinary.
So often with Trump, you couldn't make this stuff up, right? It's just incredible. All right, so Donald Trump has indeed been meddling in the World Cup. And from his comments before the US-Belgium match, he certainly didn't think there was anything particularly wrong with that.
But all I did, I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And, again, I'm good at this stuff. I didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was two great athletes that crashed into each other and got entangled. That was not a guy punching somebody in the face or anything that, would be different. And I think
he just believed that the USA player had been wronged by being given this red card.
Yes, and Donald Trump is not alone there. A lot of former players and current commentators have said that this should not have been a red card, that this was an ordinary 50-50 tackle. We see this hundreds of times in the game when two players are going for a ball and, not surprisingly, the foot of one player strikes the foot of another. So at most commentators were saying that this should be a yellow card.
It's a Balogun boot that's searching for ground. It's not searching for an opponent's ankle. Yes, that looks terrible. I can't see the intent in that.
That being said, we have to play by the rules of the referee and the calls, whether we like them or not. Wrong or right, that's the way the game goes. And people can comment about it and talk about it, and newspapers are filled every day with people commenting on whether referees got it right or not. The issue is whether the call from Donald Trump to Gianni Infantino then influenced Infantino to call his disciplinary tribunal and have them create an outcome that allowed the player's penalty to be suspended. So the red card still stands. The issue is whether or not the suspension should have been applied to allow him to play. So there's a couple of gaps in this step. It's possible that the disciplinary tribunal was already onto this and doing a review, because unfortunately there isn't actually a process written into the rules that allows a wronged team, so in this case the US Soccer, to have applied for the penalty to be suspended. There's not a process. And I do think that if there's anything good to come out of this controversy, it should be that there's a transparent process to allow teams to submit with certain criteria about why they think there should have been a suspension put in place. That said, it's gone ahead, and perhaps the world will think that the right decision has come about because Belgium ended up beating the US 4-1.
Yes, of course. All right, yes, and let's get to the rules in a bit more detail in a moment. But yeah, Donald Trump, he intervened clearly. He obviously does not think there is anything wrong with that in the slightest.
You have to let them use their best players. And the game tonight's going to be amazing, and we're going to have a full team, and Belgium's going to have a full team. And you know what? If they beat us, then they can be really proud. The other way, if they beat us, we'll say it was rigged, just like the election was rigged in 2020.
He shocks people all the time with his actions because we haven't seen a red card overturned since, like 1962 or something like that? I mean, it's not a normal thing to happen.
No, well, in 1962, as you mentioned, there was political intervention where both the Brazilian president and the Chilean president intervened to pressure FIFA to allow the top Brazilian player to play, and he went on and contributed to the Brazil winning the final in 1962. So it's not unheard of for political people to interfere in the world game. And as you say, it's also not unusual for President Trump to claim credit for a variety of different things, whether or not he actually played any part in it or not. So we don't actually know. He may well have asked his good friend Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, to intervene. Whether or not he did, we don't know. He's certainly denying it, and we don't know whether the disciplinary tribunal was asked to create the outcome that they did or whether or not they would have in any event.
Let's return to this idea that this political intervention, and as you say, we don't know all the details of what went on behind the scenes, but this intervention, it does have every team in the competition questioning whether they should be appealing decisions, referee decisions. You know, England's coach, Thomas Tuchel, he's, really questioned, where does this end once a person in a position of power like Donald Trump puts his nose into things.
Yeah, where to draw the line? This is the question that I ask. I have no answer to that. Where does this end now? Do we appeal if a yellow card is not a yellow card? Do we think it's not a red card? Or who thinks it? Where does this start and where does this end? Is my question. I don't have an answer.
Well, that's exactly right. And I imagine that any team that didn't know that there was this article that allows you to suspend a penalty under a red card, because it's an automatic suspension if you get a red card and that you sit out the next match. If anybody didn't know that that article exists, they certainly do now. It is very common to use it in UEFA games throughout Europe, and it's been used a number of times in previous World Cups, but just not with this level of political cloud, I guess, in this case, because we just don't know what influence a leader of a host nation has had on the outcome of a player's involvement in a match.
Yeah, and the European soccer body UEFA, I mean, it even says that FIFA has crossed a line that was unjustifiable and that it has tainted the entire competition. What did you make of its comments?
I think that they probably are pointing to the fact that the rules need to be tightened up and that there actually needs to be criteria for the disciplinary tribunal to make a decision about whether or not a penalty is suspended. I think in that case, if it was a transparent process, people would be quite comfortable with it. If the US Soccer Association had gone in and said, well, these are the grounds for which we think it should be suspended, and the disciplinary tribunal, which is independent in the sense that it's still a FIFA body, and anybody who sits on there is only there at the whim of the president and the executive, of course. So they could be dismissed at any time. If they want to continue to have their green blazer, in effect, and have all the benefits of being one of the disciplinary tribunal members, you would imagine they would need to toe the line. That said, at least if there's a process and some criteria, then people understand that the rules are the same for everybody, and it's just not a matter of whether or not you have the loudest, most influential president on your side.
Yeah, I mean, even the former head of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, who was embroiled himself in a number of really serious financial scandals, he was scathing of this decision. He said football must never become a playground for political power.
Yes, I did see a wag online in response to Blatter's comments, say, pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
There wasn't a more political leader of FIFA perhaps in the history. But that said, what needs to happen next is, I think there needs to be a transparent process, and I do think that it's important that everybody knows that the rules are equal no matter which country you come from and who your president is, because otherwise it just makes a mockery of the whole system.
And what about FIFA?
Well, it's really up to the member federations, isn't it, to step up and demand more from its leaders. The member federations have been quite cowed and not standing up for what is morally right, because they are impacted and kind of captured by the money that they receive and the influence that they get. So many member federations, if they see this as an opportunity to speak up about the political influence, then now's the time. They didn't say anything when unilaterally it appears that the president issued a peace prize to President Trump. None of the member federations really had a lot to say about that, even though people were quite shocked. They could see that it might benefit them in that they would have a better World Cup if President Trump was on side. So people said, whatever needs to be done is good for us. In this case, they can see that this can turn the outcome of an event which not only has reputational damage for the nation, but potentially millions of dollars in prize money and ongoing sponsorship and so on. So it has a massive impact. So they would want to stem that political interference.
All right, well, Catherine, what do you think, though? Has this whole episode tainted this World Cup? Or given that the USA lost, can we all just move on now and forget about it and just enjoy the rest of it?
I agree with you. I think most spectators will want to just move on and say, let's let the football do the talking, because that's what's happened on the field. Belgium obviously had some salt on their tail and got on with the match and made sure it was resolute in the result. The US is going to have to answer some questions on an ongoing basis, but given the political climate there, where, as you say, all manner of things happen that is not respecting the rule of law, that's something that they need to deal with domestically. But at least for international football, football will take priority and people will be looking forward to the next match.
Dr. Catherine Ordway is a sport integrity expert from the University of New South Wales, Canberra Business School. This episode was produced by Sydney Peed and Louise Mylan. Audio production by Sam Dunn. Our supervising producer is David Cody. I'm Sam Hawley. To get in touch with the team, please email us on ABC News Daily at abc.net.au. Thanks for listening.